In this video, I'm going to go over how you do conversions using the factor label method, which is also called dimensional analysis. So I have a couple examples to go through. In this first one, it says convert 51.5 inches to centimeters. If you have an example or you have a problem where you have to go from the English system to metric or vice versa, we will give you that conversion factor. So for example, I do not expect you to memorize that in 1 inch there's 2.54 centimeters. You will be given that one. So always write down the number with the units that you are given first, 51.5 inches. And we're going to set up our problem. Whatever units you start off with, put those units on the bottom in the next step, because we want those units to cancel out. What you are looking for is centimeters, so what you're looking for always goes up top. I think it works well to figure out where the units go first and then get the numbers that go with them. So remember, whatever units you start off with, they always go on the bottom in the next step because they will cancel out. And whatever units you want to get go on the top. Now we fill in for the conversion factor. It's 1 goes with inch, so it's 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. And now the inches are canceling out. What we're going to be left with is in the top right, so we have it set up how we want it. And really what goes on with this is anything on top you multiply, anything on the bottom you divide. So it's 51.5 multiplied by 2.54. You don't have to put it in the calculator, but it's divided by 1, so that's not going to change anything. And if you did that on the calculator, what you would get is 130.81 centimeters. But we have to round this off. And when you round off, always go by the number that's in the problem. That is 3 significant digits. Since we're multiplying or dividing, we go by significant digits. So 3 significant digits, we round this one off to 3 significant digits. It becomes 131 centimeters. You never go by the conversion factor when you're doing a conversion like this. They are a known value. There's no uncertainty in that number. They did not have to get measured or anything like that. So they are an exact number, and exact numbers have infinite numbers of significant digits. So always go with the number given in the problem. 51.5 inches is equal to 131 centimeters. For the next one down, imagine you are traveling in another country and you get directions that say you have to drive 37 kilometers, and you're not really sure what that distance is. You might want to convert it to miles to have a better idea, because you probably have a better idea of how far a mile is. So we want to convert kilometers to miles, metric to English, so you get the conversion factor again. Remember, you wouldn't have to memorize that. So start off with what you have, 37 kilometers. Set up the problem the same way. Whatever units you start off with, put those on the bottom. Kilometers, you're looking for miles, so we can put miles up top. 1 mile is equal to 1.609 kilometers. Kilometers will cancel out. We'll be left with miles. And now we just have to do the math. So you do 37 multiplied by 1, which just gives you 37, divided by 1.609. Now when you do this, you get a long number on your calculator. It's something like 22.9956 and a whole bunch of numbers after that. We have to round this off. Again, go by the number in the problem. That's 2 significant digits. So we round this off to 2 significant digits. So 37 kilometers equals 23 miles. The next one down involves only metric values. So you would have to come up with this conversion factor on your own. How many milliliters are in 0.150 liters? Alright, write down the number you are given first with the units. 0.150 liters. And we're going to set up our conversion factor the same way we have been doing. You start off with liters, so liters goes on the bottom. You want milliliters, so that's what goes on the top. Now for milliliters and liters, what I think works well, and you don't have to do it this way, but this tends to be the way I do it, figure out which of these two is the larger unit. And a liter is larger. So whatever unit is larger, give that the number 1. And then whatever the smaller unit is, it's always going to have a number larger than 1. For example, a milliliter is 1,000 times smaller than a liter. So you need 1,000 of them to equal 1 liter. And now this is an equality. The unit that represents the smaller unit is always going to have the larger number. Like I said, you need 1,000 milliliters to make up 1 liter. Liters will cancel out. What you're doing is 150 multiplied by 1,000. So in the calculator, that gives you 150 milliliters. But remember to think about significant digits. This number has 3 significant digits. Written like this only has 2. So all you have to do is put a decimal point there, and that gives you 3 significant digits, and that gives you your answer, 150 milliliters with a decimal point. Number 4 is going to be a little trickier because you have 2 metric units that have prefixes, kilometer and centimeter. So 0.25, start off with the one we give you, kilometers. Now what I think works well for this is your first conversion is to get rid of that prefix. So we're going to go from kilometers to meters. It would be easy to make a mistake to go from kilometers right to centimeters, so I'm going to do it in 2 steps. Kilometers to meters first. Kilometer is the larger of the 2 units, so I'm giving that the number 1. Now, a meter is 1,000 times smaller than a kilometer. So you need 1,000 meters to equal 1 kilometer. And now kilometer will cancel out. And what we can do is another step here. So now we have meters, they go on the bottom. We want centimeters, they go up top. Meter is the larger of the 2 units, so that gets the number 1. A centimeter is 100 times smaller, so you need 100 of them to equal 1 meter. Meters will cancel out. So on your calculator, what you're doing is 0.25 times 1,000 times 100. That will give you 25,000 centimeters. Now this number in the problem only had 2 significant digits. So you write your answer with 2 significant digits. So that's why I'm not putting a decimal point there, because with no decimal point, it's 2 significant digits. So it's good how it is. So one of the things that people make mistakes on is the ones on the screen here. You see a couple problems where it's the number 1 in the denominator. That is not always the case, because remember the second problem with kilometers and miles. It was 1.609 kilometers on the bottom. That's why I like to write the units first and then figure out the numbers that go with them. And if you just go from left to right, you should be in good shape with that.